you so much for joining us today. My name is Adrienne Montgomery. I'm with ERP VAR. We are joined here today by Intermax. Intermax is a leading SAP Business One partner. It has enjoyed the award-winning notice from SAP. They have won the SAP Partner Excellence Award. They're a certified SAP Business One Premier Partner. Intermax team with us today is here to illustrate why growing manufacturers and distributors are moving to Cloud ERP. Intermax has recently been recognized on the prestigious Inc. 5000 list of America's fastest growing companies. They are highly sought after by businesses looking to migrate from legacy systems, having successfully transitioned several Sage 100 customers into the secure, flexible, and highly scalable SAP Business One Cloud ERP environment. It's my pleasure to introduce the following Intermax team members. David Orozco, he's a sales manager. He has over 10 years experience helping businesses streamline their operations through CRM and ERP solutions. David specializes in SAP Business One. He is dedicated to understanding each client's business needs and delivering tailored solutions that drive efficiency and long-term success. His client-focused approach has helped build long partnerships across a wide range of industries. Thank you, David, for joining us. And then Karen Martinez, she is also with us today. She is an SAP solution architect. So Karen is a certified SAP consultant with extensive experience designing and implementing SAP Business One solutions. She has successfully guided numerous organizations through their digital transformation journeys, ensuring smooth implementations and maximizing the value of their SAP investment through well-designed, scalable solutions. Thank you so much, Karen. And we have Tiran Mendez with us here today. He's the principal of Intermax, and he has more than 20 years of experience in SAP Business One implementation and project management. Tiran has led hundreds of successful ERP projects for businesses both locally and internationally. His expertise is project planning, implementation strategy, and business process optimization. And he has helped organizations achieve seamless system deployments and long-term operational excellence. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to David to kick it off. Thank you so much, David.
All right. Again, welcome everyone. Thank you, Adrienne. Thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is David with Intermax. We are an SAP Premier Partner focused on helping manufacturers, distributors, and growing businesses modernize their ERP systems with SAP Business One. Today's session is designed for companies currently running Sage 100 who may be starting to feel limitations around visibility, inventory accuracy, reporting, difficulty with add-ons or infrastructure, or even scalability. For growing manufacturers and distributors, ERP is no longer just an accounting system. It supports inventory, purchasing, production, warehouse activity, financial reporting, customer service, and most importantly, decision-making. If your team is spending more time maintaining systems, reconciling data, or working around limitation, that creates real operational cost. This presentation will walk through why many Sage 100 users are evaluating Cloud ERP and why SAP Business One with Intermax may be a strong next step. Here's what we'll cover during today's session. We'll begin with a brief executive summary and review some of the key challenges organizations encounter as they outgrow Sage 100, along with the potential business benefits of moving to a modern cloud ERP platform. Next, we'll introduce SAP Business One and explain how its integrated platform connects financials, sales, purchasing, inventory, manufacturing, and operations through a single database. From there, we'll move into the product demonstration, beginning with the SAP Business One web client. We will look at its role-based dashboards, navigation, search capabilities, security, and approval controls. We'll then review product and inventory management, stock visibility, availability, forecasting, and MRP. We'll also walk through the sales and purchasing process and show how SAP Business One connects related documents across the entire order to cash and procure to pay cycles. Finally, we'll look at production integrations, workflow automation, AI-enabled functionality, and banking automation. Our goal is to provide a practical view of how SAP Business One can replace disconnected systems and third-party add-ons with a more integrated and scalable platform. Of course, we'll leave time at the end for questions and open discussions as well. Sage 100 has served many businesses well, especially companies that have grown from basic accounting into more complex distribution and manufacturing operations. But the operating model has changed. Today, businesses need real-time visibility, tighter inventory control, stronger reporting, remote access, and better scalability. The challenges with many on-premise environments is that costs and limitations start showing up in different places: infrastructure, upgrades, reporting delays, manual processes, and disconnected add-ons. Cloud ERP helps shift that model. Instead of large capital spikes, companies move toward predictable operating expense. Instead of internally managing servers, backups, and disaster recovery, more of that responsibility shifts to the cloud-managed environment. Most importantly, leadership teams gain faster access to financial and operational data. When companies evaluate ERP, they often focus only on software costs, but the cost of standing still can be larger than expected. There are hardware refreshes, IT labor, upgrade projects, disaster recovery planning, and cybersecurity exposure, along with scalability limits. For finance and operations team, the hidden cost is often productivity. If reporting takes too long, if teams are exporting data to Excel, if inventory is not trusted, or if departments are working from different versions of the truth, those are real costs. That is usually when ERP starts to feel less like a growth engine and more like a bottleneck. The upside of cloud ERP falls into three areas. First, cash flow. Companies can reduce capital expenditures and move toward a more predictable subscription model. Second is finance operations. A modern ERP system can help accelerate the close process, improve forecasting, and provide real-time dashboards. And third is governance. SAP Business One supports stronger controls, approvals, audit trails, and role-based access. For manufacturers and distributors, this matters because small gaps in inventory, purchasing, costing, or production can quickly impact your margins and your customer service. This slide gives you a simple side-by-side comparison. With on-premise systems, infrastructure, upgrades, IT administration, scalability, and business continuity are typically company managed. With cloud ERP, much of that burden shifts. Upgrades become easier to manage. Scalability is handled through subscription expansion instead of new hardware. Backup, disaster recovery, and uptime are managed at the hosting or cloud level. That does not mean that cloud is free of responsibility, but it changes where the responsibility sits. We also want to present a balanced view. On-premise systems carry risks: aging infrastructure, dependency on key internal people, and delayed upgrades. Cloud ERP has its own considerations: subscription management, change management, and data migration. The key difference is that these risks can be planned and managed. At Intermax, our role is to help structure the migration, deliver the scope, validate the data, train the users, and support the business through go live and beyond. Here's a useful checklist. Cloud ERP should be prioritized if your company expects revenue growth, operates across multiple sites, has remote users, is considering acquisition, has limited IT resources, or needs faster financial reporting. For manufacturers and distributors, I would also add if inventory accuracy, warehouse visibility, production planning, or purchasing control are becoming more difficult, that's usually a sign that the ERP system needs to evolve. Our recommendation is straightforward. For companies focused on growth, stronger cash flow planning, better reporting, lower infrastructure burden, Cloud ERP typically provides more long-term flexibility than maintaining an aging on-premise environment. The right next step is usually a 3 to 5 year total cost of ownership and return on investment model. That gives leadership a clear view of software costs, infrastructure costs, implementation investment, productivity gains, and operational risk. This is an illustrative 3-year total cost of ownership example for a 50-user organization. The important point is not the exact number. Every business will be different. The important point is cost categories. When you compare software, infrastructure, backup and disaster recovery, upgrade projects, IT administration, and productivity, Cloud ERP can become very compelling. In this example, the cloud model shows approximately $128,000 lower 3-year total cost of ownership, while also improving scalability, availability, and reporting. Now let's talk about SAP Business One. Business One is SAP's ERP platform designed specifically for small and mid-sized businesses. It is used globally across many industries, and it is especially strong for distribution, light manufacturing, wholesale, consumer products, and companies with inventory-driven operations. The advantage is you get the strength of the SAP platform designed for growing businesses without the complexity of a large enterprise ERP product. One of the biggest differences between SAP Business One and many legacy environments is that it is one integrated suite. Every module listed here operates from a single centralized database. That means sales orders, purchase orders, inventory movements, production orders, and financial postings are all connected, giving teams consistent and real-time information across the organization. SAP Business One also supports AI-enabled functionality and intelligent automation. This creates opportunities to automate repetitive tasks, improve access to business information, identify trends, and help users make faster, more informed decisions. For Sage 100 users who rely heavily on third-party add-ons, this is an important difference. Instead of constantly trying to keep separate systems synchronized, SAP Business One brings more of the core business process and the foundation for future automation and AI into one connected platform. Another advantage is access. SAP Business One includes native mobile applications for Apple and Android systems. Users can access dashboards, approvals, project activity, time and expense, and other key business functions from anywhere. This is especially helpful for executives, sales teams, field teams, and managers who need visibility without being tied to a desktop or an office network. At this point, I'd like to move from the business case into the product demonstration. I'd like to introduce Karen. Again, she is our Intermax SAP Solutions Architect. Karen, over to you.
Thank you, David. Can you guys see my screen? Yes.
Great, perfect. All right. Now that we have reviewed the business case for moving beyond Sage 100, I would like to take you into the product and show you what that connected ERP experience looks like in practice. So today's high-level demonstration will focus on SAP Business One web client and how we can bring daily operations together through one browser-based workspace. All right. As well, role-based access helps users focus on the information relevant to their responsibilities while supporting data governance and appropriate access control. And as David mentioned, SAP Business One provides an integrated suite of capabilities across these modules because um, these areas share the same business foundation. Information moves through the process without requiring departments to reconcile disconnected records. And the financial foundation is integrated with the operational processes we're seeing today. SAP Business One supports audit trails, approval controls, cost accounting, financial dimensions, and reporting structures that organizations can configure around their applicable accounting policies, including frameworks such as US GAAP or IFRS. With that, I will begin with the navigation and homepage. What you're seeing is the SAP Business One web client. The experience can be personalized by role, but access remains controlled through user authorizations. This allows the organization to determine what each employee can view, create, update, or approve, supporting data security, governance, and appropriate access across the business. You will see the homepage is organized into groups and application tiles, and the experience can be aligned with each employee's role. A salesperson may focus on customers, quotations, open orders, while a production manager may focus on inventory, bills of materials, production orders, and planning. So each tile opens on a specific application. For example, over here on production, we have existing records while other allows us to begin a new transaction. Tiles can also display some other useful information like on accounting, we can see right away how many GL accounts we have so far. All of this creates a practical daily workspace rather than simply a menu. Over here, we can see our main modules. Users can access different functional areas, and this is one of the key differences between adding separate applications around an accounting system and working within an integrated ERP foundation. And even though SAP Business One brings multiple departments together in one integrated system, each user only works with information and activities relevant to their responsibilities. Now, users can also use the enterprise search for specific items, business partners, or any records with a keyword. For example, let's look for Acme, which is one of my vendors, but let's see what else it can show me. All right, since Acme is my supplier, it's giving me every record where Acme has been part of, such as purchase orders, invoices, and even documents like reserve invoices, goods return, or purchase quotations. So this means you can access our history or your history records with this functionality, and any document ever created will be accessible because our overall objective is to give each employee a clear, relevant workspace while keeping the organization's information and processes connected. Now, let's look at a little bit of CRM, where the customer relationship does not live in a separate application disconnected from the transaction history. We will start with the business partner master data. This record provides a central view of the customers, prospects, vendors, including contact information. Let me pick one of my customers, contact information, payment terms, and any relevant information. Something interesting is that we don't have to add everything manually. Nowadays, we're trying to make things easier and faster for you. So here is a practical example of how that information can be captured more efficiently. Let's say you're out and about and you're having a really good conversation with a possible customer and they give you their contact card. Instead of saving it on your phone and then registering it on SAP, with the web client, we can do it all at once and you can just continue with your day. We start by selecting Scan a Business Card. Then we select the business partner type, as you can see over here, and add our customer or vendor code. Now all we have to do left is scan the card they gave us. Finally, we just verify the result. And now we have a new customer on our business partner master data. All right, let's move to CRM activities. Here we can record calls, meetings, follow-ups, and other information related to customers. So important information is not left only in personal notes or individual inboxes. Also, with opportunities, we can track potential business from the initial conversation through the different stages of the sales cycle. As the opportunity develops, the process can continue directly into a sales quotation and then into a sales order. Now let's move on to our items and how we can manage them. On our item master data module, we can find a record for every product managed in SAP Business One. Here, let's go ahead and select this one. All right, so this one is a printer. From this record, users can access key information associated with the product, if it's active or inactive, including its description, classification, and inventory settings. And the same item record is used across sales, purchasing, inventory, reporting, and when applicable, production as well. This means departments are not maintaining separate versions of the same product information. We can also see some other relevant tabs, such as logistics, how we are buying this product, how we're selling this product, and the pricing as well. But one very important thing is the inventory area. Users can review quantities by warehouse and distinguish between what is physically on hand, what has been committed through sales orders, and what is currently on order. That equals to our availability to promise quantity. That gives sales and operations a clear understanding of what can realistically be promised to a customer. Now, this item information also supports planning through MRP or material requirements planning, which evaluates demand, current inventory, open purchase and production orders, lead times, and when applicable, the bill of materials to help determine what needs to be purchased or produced and by when. So rather than reacting only after inventory runs short, the business can use the information already maintained in SAP Business One to plan replenishment more proactively. And now we can move into sales and see how this item becomes part of the customer order process. All right, this is called our order to cash or quote to cash, depending on the scenario. We can begin with an optional quotation and continue through the sales order, delivery, invoicing, and payment. That is our standard flow, but there is always, down payments, reserve invoices, or returns as well. While those are a different scenario, we can still have everything connected to not have any unrelated or loose documents. So here we have the relationship map, which is essentially a flow chart of the documents that have been streamlined. Users can clearly see where a transaction originated and what happened next. We can see we started with a sales quotation, we moved to the sales order, delivery, and our air invoice, as well as down payment and the incoming payment. So if you want to check any details on our delivery or invoice, you can just click on the document. For example, I want to see some details on my air invoice, and it's going to open it directly. Also, in case I need to share this, I can easily do so either through email, send by email, or maybe I just want to download it. So let me show you a preview that I had already prepared. Okay, here is the preview of our invoice ready to be sent. Now, just to demonstrate how we can easily connect to platforms to help our processes, I have this unfinished order to cash. And let's say we have already received the funds on my bank account. I would like to use a platform to connect the payment with my invoice. So to complete this process, SAP Business One can connect with a banking automation platform that brings bank activity into the ERP and helps streamline payment processing. So here we are connected to my SAP Business One database and my bank account. Here we have my incoming and outgoing payments. If I look for my incoming payment, which value was for $1,500, my banking automation has already recognized it as my existing invoice on SAP. Now, all I have to do to process it and connect the incoming payment with the invoice is just click on the thumbs up. It will be posted automatically. Now, just returning back to SAP. As you see, we only have a down payment so far. And if I load the relationship map, it will now load the full incoming payment. 1 second. All right. So that is how it works. Here you can see my process payments, and that's how business value goes beyond convenience. By reducing repetitive payment entry and matching activity, the organization can save processing time, using finance resources more effectively, and reduce the costs associated with manual work. That same connected structure continues with the purchasing side. SAP Business One supports the complete procure to pay process from the purchase order through receipt, supplier invoicing, and payment. That is our standard flow. In this example, we can see our relationship map. We have already created a purchase order documenting what we agreed to purchase from the supplier. When the goods arrive, the warehouse records, and we have also entered a goods recipio, confirming what was physically received and updating inventory. Those are my two documents so far. Now, on our contents tab, we can see, besides some other details, we can see our committed, in stock, and ordered sections, which means every time we order or sell something, we can see how it affects our inventory. It is updated live through every order, receipt, or even transfer. The next step of our procure to pay process would be to receive the invoice from our vendor. Let's say they send it to our email address, and we can enter the invoice details manually, or SAP Business One can also connect with an invoice automation solution. All right, that captures the invoice PDF. Let's say this is my invoice that the supplier sent me. Now, this I want to enter to SAP. My tool extracts the relevant information with AI technology and prepares it for the user to review and post it when necessary. So here I'm just verifying the details. The header, the item information, and the invoice total. Now, since we have so far two documents, the purchase order and the goods recipio, we can also do a three-way match with the invoice. Now, let me just verify. Over here, we can see the same dollar amount of the purchase order and the goods recipio we had on SAP. Once I'm satisfied with that data, I can post it to SAP. All right. And now All I have to do is just refresh my information. All right, now it appears as processed. I'm going to close this and just refresh the relationship map. You will see now that besides the purchase order and the goods recipio, we have the AP invoice I posted to SAP, and that automation solution is now part of my flow. And all we need to do to finish the process is proceed with the outgoing payment. So as you saw, SAP Business One is extensible through APIs, SAP integration technologies, and partner solutions, allowing the ERP to connect with the specialized platforms required by the business. The value is that SAP Business One provides control and traceability, while the connected automation not only saves time, but also reduces repetitive entry, improve consistency, and allow employees to focus their attention on exceptions and higher value activities. With that, we can continue with our production module. Here, SAP connects product structures, inventory planning, and production activity within the same system. So first, let's look at the bill of materials. For example, we have this lemon curd bill of materials where we can see the items required for our finished product. Because this structure is connected to inventory and purchasing, the business can evaluate whether the required materials are available before production begins. Now, moving on to our production orders, we have this one. If we receive a sales order with a production item, this production order turns that product structure into an operational document. It identifies what is being produced, the planned quantity, the due date, the required components, and the status as well. So as production progresses, components can be issued from inventory and the completed finished product can be received back into stock, maintaining traceability throughout the process. The key value is integration. Sales demand can influence planning, purchasing supplies the components, inventory reflects the material movement, and production activity remains connected to the rest of the business. Finally, I would like to talk about AI. I know this is everyday's conversation, and with the web client, SAP Business One can work with AI to help users automate their processes. Let's look at how AI-enabled workflows can support routine activities around SAP Business One. In this example, the user asks an AI agent to identify a specific group of items that should be deactivated. The agent interprets the request, searching the relevant records, and presents the proposed results for review. It's asking, would you like to make this item inactive? And before making the change, the system asks the user to confirm the action. So this human in the loop approach helps preserve governance and user control while reducing the repetitive work involved in searching and updating the records manually. SAP can be extended through AI agents and workflow automations to save time. Simplify routine tasks, and improve the user experience. And with that, we have seen how SAP Business One brings together core operations, manufacturing, reporting, integrations, and automation in one connected platform, giving growing companies the visibility and flexibility they need to scale with greater control. Thank you all very much for your attention, and I'll return it back to you, Adrian.
Thank you so much, Karen. Appreciate that. We hope to see you on a future webinar. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.